I'll start this now and then I'll introduce you. So, hey guys, I just first and foremost thank you guys for bearing with us today. If you didn't hear it right before we kicked this off, my own computer had water splashed all over it and it completely shut out. So I had to kind of revamp things and switch stuff up into a different computer. So now that we're actually ready, this is the Forging Life podcast monthly wrap up. We're going to do this once a month, the very first Friday of every single month. And today I have Marshall with us. He's going to be our MC and kind of generalize bringing up questions for any of our speakers, whether it's off of the top of his head that he might have questions for any of us. And if we have questions for any of you that are joining us live on Zoom, I'll try and pay attention to Facebook as well, and we'll kind of switch back and forth. So I am your host and daily success coach, Trey Ryder, and I want to welcome Marshall to the stage. Can't hear you, buddy. You are.
Hey, I'm all good now. Technology. I'll tell you what, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight, whether you guys are live or watching this on replay. I just want to say a special thank you to Trey for putting this together, having these monthly roundups each time to be able to actually leverage what it is the speakers are talking about, what the podcast is shared inside, how everyday people like me and like the audience out there can actually use these tactics to move forward in their life and business. So I want to go around and introduce some of the speakers here. Again, you guys, I know Trey already said it, but if you haven't written it down yet, the first Friday of every single month, Trey is doing this roundup every single time for you guys to leverage these speakers. And so I want to go around. We have some really special guests in the room tonight. Honored to be here. We're talking leadership. We're talking empowerment. We're talking mindset. We're talking success. We're talking it all on how you can have more of it in your life. And I'm going to start right up here with the guy with all the blues out here. We got Todd Ross, mindset coach, business consultant, and a coach with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. I'm assuming you're a knowledge broker. Brother, introduce yourself to the audience.
I am. Good evening, everybody. Yep, my name is Todd Ross. I am a knowledge broker, and I have been studying KBB for the past 2 years. And then they finally decided to bring me on and coach other people on how to do the KBB process. And so, Tony and Dean have been just absolutely incredible people, wonderful to work with, and I'm just very blessed. My business is, I started a program called the 30-Day Entrepreneur, and I really focus on taking people that don't want to be in the corporate world anymore out of the corporate world and into their own business while they're still holding their job so that they don't have to give that up right away. I found that one of the biggest pain points that people had was just jumping ship from their job and going straight into entrepreneurship because it takes a little while. So I created a process that allows them to do that without having to sacrifice their job. And then behind me is my daughter, Lexa. I've dragged her in tonight because, she's an aspiring entrepreneur. She just started her own solopreneur business where she's doing streaming online. She's 15 years old. I think she got a little bit of the entrepreneur itch from dad. And so now she's stepping into that space. I thought this would be a really good opportunity for her to be able to see what it's like to network with incredible individuals such as all of you guys.
What an awesome opportunity, brother. I'm so excited to have you here. I know the KBB process is literally changing lives. I know that you're changing lives. And so I have so many questions. I'm sure the audience does too. I'm going to come back to you and we're going to dive into that later. But I want to introduce our next speaker, Chris Tice. Chris Tice is the founder of Eagle Fire Leadership. And I'm really, really excited to have you on here, brother. It sounds like you have a very diverse background. I know you're an EMT. I know that you have a firefighting background. And you've taken that now and you're putting it into a leadership form. And so I'd love you to come on, introduce yourself, and share what you're here to share with us tonight.
Yeah, well, thank you for that introduction. Beyond blessed to be here. Yes, he said, my name is Chris Tice. I'm a retired firefighter EMT, retired early due to some continual injuries and just getting to the point of my life's calling from God to say that my job as a leader was to start teaching and coaching other leaders, the aspects of effective communication, training and development, and safety and crisis management. So my wife and I started Eagle Fire Enrichment to be able to do that, to help inspire, especially the next generation of leader but with the understanding that it's not just about title, rank, and position, and it's not just about age. It's about the impact that we can create to make a better world.
Come on, let's go. You're getting me pumped up already, Chris. And I'm excited to dive into this because I would almost guarantee that when you were injured, you had to retire, that there's probably some stinking thinking going on. And I bet that you're just literally an example of leadership and pushing through. So I have plenty of questions I can't wait to ask you here in a second. I want to come over. I probably should have started with Brooke first, but I want to welcome Brooke to the stage, Women's Empowerment Leadership. I'm super excited. I know you just got off a clubhouse room not too long ago. So I'm hoping you're all warmed up and ready to go.
Yeah, always.
What are you going to share with us tonight?
What was that?
What kind of information will you be sharing? Like, what is your specialty? I was looking through your account and I saw a bunch of empowerment. And so, what was the club room that you had, the clubhouse room about that you just finished?
So I am a sexual empowerment and intimacy coach. So what I really focus on with people is helping them to take back and reclaim the personal relationship that they have with themselves and with their intimacy and their power of creation. So I believe truly that our source of creation and procreation are the same. They all center around the sacral chakra, and that power is our most innate gift from God to be able to create everything in our life, from love and intimacy and sexuality to finances and business and family. And when we clear shame and trauma out of that center of creation, we clear up our ability to create healthy relationships and to really be able to raise to a level of life that we didn't know was possible. Otherwise, we take that shame into every relationship that we have, and we think that the world sees us the way that we shame ourselves into seeing us. And so when we clear that out, we raise up the world.
It's crazy too. I know so many entrepreneurs especially struggle with that because, we want to help so many people and we want to use these gifts, but it's like we show up and we're the ones judging ourselves the hardest. So I'm really excited to have you. I really appreciate you. And you're speaking my language, girl. I'm the creator and the creation. So like, we're going to be diving into, I'll probably ask you about design.
Entrepreneurs are creators, man, but we have a hard time receiving. So we got to do both.
Amen. So I appreciate that. So to everybody that's tuning in tonight, again, guys, we're doing this the first Friday of every single month. The three speakers that I just introduced, I'm going to bring Trey up here in a second, are going to be our featured speakers from the podcast. However, we have some more expert guests that are in the audience. And I want to bring Amy to the stage. She's going to be joining Trey next month. And Amy, are you going to be sharing on stage with us tonight?
I'm sorry, sir. Did you say Amy?
I did, yeah. I was going to bring you to the stage. I know that you're going to be featured next month in the podcast, but if you're going to be on, I think that you'd probably be adding some value if anybody had any questions.
Sure. Absolutely.
Perfect.
However I can contribute.
That's awesome. And what are you going to be talking about on the podcast next month with Trey? What's your specialty?
So, I'm a volunteeraholic, and I love to connect and give back to my communities, and I would like to end female veterans homelessness in the state of Washington. And so I have a lot of different things that I'm working towards, but I'm a volunteeraholic.
I love that. Have you put that on a t-shirt yet and branded that?
No, I have the hashtags volunteeraholic and I have the website, and that's the name of my business. And it's funny because I got pushback that it sounds negative, and it's not supposed to be, but it can be. Like if you get out of balance, I'm sure Burke would show, if you get out of balance, you can get out of balance in any area of your life. But I have benefited so much from my volunteer world, from all the relationships that I've made, the connections, the opportunities, and different things like that. And so I like to talk about volunteering because a lot of people just get lost. They don't even know where to begin or what to do.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know that people want to give back. They want to volunteer. They want to donate money and time and energy, but we don't always know the best way to do that. So I'm excited to talk about giving back to charity with you, having your expertise in this. I want to come over to Diane before we go to Trey. Hello, Miss Diane. It's such a pleasure to have you here. You're on mute right now. Are you going to become a guest on Trey's podcast?
Anytime he wants me.
Anytime you want to. And so what kind of expertise, Diane, would you say that you're really here to offer on the stage? And what can we look to for you to maybe get some pointers or some experience and knowledge? What areas?
Okay, I am a spiritual and transformational coach. I have certifications in NLP, which is neurolinguistic programming. I am a hypnotherapist. I am a timeline therapist, and I am a personality assessment evaluator.
Let's go.
Hey,
meeting.
let me hear from everybody really quick. So if you guys would love to have Diane, which I know I would, you guys would definitely like to have her, let me know. Let's hear that real quick. Awesome. I see you guys applauding, so thank you. And Diane has been a major support throughout the how long has it been, Diane? At least probably half a year, if not more, that she has been showing up consistently to support everything that we have done, to include the starting of this podcast. And she does have her own podcast as well. So thank you for being here tonight, Diane. It's always great seeing you.
Love you.
What's the name of your podcast, dear?
Mirror Mirror, the Unapologetic Podcast.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, Diane, it's a pleasure to have you here. I'm super grateful to share this virtual stage with you. We're going to be asking you some questions. We'll come back. Now I want to move it over to the man. Oh, go ahead, girl. What was that?
That's great. Thanks.
Woo! I want to move back to the man of the hour. And you guys, really, I just came across Trey Ryder not even that long ago. I think it was maybe a month, maybe 2 months ago. And it really solidifies what we're all doing here, whether you're tuning in and listening, whether you're on the virtual stage right now. And we're really here talking about is community. We're talking about the power of association, the power of proximity, and its ability to truly change and transform your life. And that's something I want to be able to speak at length to about the speakers tonight. I'm a speaker. I run lots of events. I do all these things, but I recently started a Clubhouse room. I don't know if you guys have been on Clubhouse yet, but it's been absolutely terrifying. I've been absolutely terrified. I've been terrified that nobody's going to show up. I've been terrified that I'm going to be some failure. And I get on Clubhouse and I started, nobody showed up. And the next day, Trey showed up. And I just want to say about Trey, it's over each of the last 10 days, he's been showing up. And the way that he just spoke about Diane is literally what I could say about Trey. Every single time he shows up in the room, every time he's on a virtual stage, he's literally pouring into the audience, pouring into speakers, pouring into me. And as a leader, I literally can't think of somebody else that I'm more blessed to meet, more blessed to have in my circle. I want to welcome Trey. Thank you for putting this together, brother. Thank you for everything that you do to support me, brother. And thanks for the Forging Life podcast. Welcome to the stage. What are we going to be getting into tonight, my man?
Thank you so much, Marshall. It's always amazing to sit here and be a part of something amazing, because I wanted to do this first and foremost because there's nothing else out there like this right now that I know of, that I'm aware of. And it's basically taking Clubhouse, Zoom, and a podcast and just kind of smushing it together and making this new baby, which is my vision is about taking these speakers. It's one thing to sit there on a podcast and have this great interview. And it's another thing to be able to later on have somebody be able to listen to this podcast and say, man, you know what, Brooke, Chris, Todd, Amy, David Payne that's down there, he's on an upcoming podcast as well. And you've probably heard me speak about GI Resupply, that he's spearheading that. And thank you for your service as well. But it's just been amazing to sit here and speak to everybody and to be able to provide this opportunity for somebody to say, you know what, Amy, I don't know how you sit there and volunteer or do this. And maybe it's just a small question, because at the very end of the day, Todd, he's running this business about corporate down into becoming entrepreneurs. And this isn't something to be able to have just a big mastermind say, okay, let's pick Todd's brain this whole time. This is something to say, look, we're here to answer a few questions to kind of lead you in the proper direction. And all of us here, most of us are entrepreneurs. Sorry, I had to kind of look over the screen here. But most of us are entrepreneurs in one form or fashion, whether it's marketing, whether it's coaching, it's spiritual, relationships. And to be able to come up and say, I just have one burning question. And now Todd or Chris or Brooke or Marshall, you're able to start building a little bit more rapport, because let's be serious. How many touches does it take to actually build enough rapport for somebody to really want to go in and buy your products? At first I think they were saying like, was it like 6 touches or something? Now it's up to like 9 or above that. I can't remember, but it's climbing. So this is my way to be able to get you guys back in to hopefully answer some questions and build that rapport with these people that could potentially come across and do business with you. So that's kind of my bigger perspective.
Yeah.
And like you said, Marshall, I truly appreciate that introduction, because that's what I do. I try to show up authentically and just provide value. Because you know what, if people understand what I do, thank you, Diane, for that thumbs up. But if people understand what I do in regards to coaching or families and helping people show up on a daily freaking basis, because I was there, I wasn't showing up, and I've been through that process. So that's why I, like, how can I start giving words of wisdom? Because go ahead.
And no, I love that, man. That's like one of your hallmarks is you talk about that a lot, is showing up. How can we show up to have more of the life that we deserve? Something we talk about in my videos all the time. And I love that you start there. I want to dive into this whole thing. First I'm going to go down here to Chris, and then I want to kind of transition into a question I have for Todd as well. But one of the things I think is interesting about these roundtables, about this mastermind, is I know a lot of people have heard the book Think and Grow Rich. And it's interesting because Napoleon Hill went out, he literally interviewed like the most wealthy and successful people of his time. And out of all the things that all of those people said, the number one thing they said that was most beneficial and most valuable was the mastermind principle. And so if you're watching this, if you're listening to this and you have questions, I don't care if it's big, small, about life, about business, anywhere in between, you have access to a panel of experts tonight. I'm just the guy with the big mouth that's facilitating this. But if you guys have questions, if you ladies have questions in the audience, please, by all means, don't be scared to ask them. Get out there, get your question answered. We're going to be in for an awesome night. I can't wait. And what I want to start off with, Chris, I want to ask you a question. Kind of something that Todd said that really struck a chord to me. And he talks about that transition from like when you're an employee, but you know you were meant for more. You know that you want more, but it's hard to make that leap. It's like, yo, bro, like I have a mortgage, I have a family. Like, how much to actually get started? So I know, and I know all of us here know, that community and surrounding yourself with people who want you to win is the most important thing. And Chris, I'm interested. I know that everything in life seems to be a micro or macrocosm of itself. And so I know that community, true community, is the same thing, whether it's entrepreneurship or even being a firefighter. And so what are some of the things that you would say that you learned having that brotherhood or having that community as a firefighter, depending on each other? How have you taken that ideal and transitioned that into a leadership company where you can now help more people at scale?
Well, I think the key word in all that is community. It's this teamwork. It's this idea of understanding that even though there is the concept of being self-made or the self-made leader, you still have to recognize there's no way you truly did it all on your own. Whether it's a component or something you used, and where I center the most on is someone or someones. There's a teamwork in a community. I mean, as a firefighter, we don't show up on scene by ourselves. Now, I know in some rural and volunteer departments, they do kind of initially show up and they're coming from different areas, but at the same time, to get the full job done and successful it's got to be done as a team. Well, one of my blessings in this is my wife and I co-founded it together, and we've definitely worked together as a team. Work together is the key to that, because we've had to learn different things and different opportunities. I'm a KBB member as well, and it's how I met Trey, and now I see Todd, and being a part of podcasts and being a part of Zooms like this and networking.
Yeah,
it's not always like, what can I get out of this or what can I sell out of this? But what can we, or where can we all grow in this together?
Yeah.
And being able to see that and transition with that, and with that mindset, that positive mindset for that, I think that was kind of the biggest thing for me in feeling comfortable in making that transition.
I love that. I love that. And I would bet that when it comes to, serving as a firefighter, those people aren't, those men and women aren't showing up in communities because they want something. It's because they want to serve. I know that you would agree, Chris, and everybody on here and our listeners, that when you show up to serve selflessly, right, you start to build that team, that community. It's an interesting thing. And Todd, I want to bring it up to you for a second, because I know that they say if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And you are a leader who's actually putting his money where his mouth is at. You're not just out there preaching, you're doing the things that you're talking about. And so I wonder if you'd expand a little bit maybe on what KBB has meant to you and how you've been able to take that concept of community, showing up and serving selflessly with a bunch of other people who are trying to do the same thing, and how much has that impacted your mindset and the perceptions you've had to grow towards the successful results that you want.
Sorry, was that targeted Chris or me?
That was for you, Todd.
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't hear you say my name.
Oh, that's okay. I probably mumbled.
Well, you know what? KBB has been an incredible entry point into the world of entrepreneurship for me. And what Chris was saying is right on. You've got to have that community. Being a firefighter myself, I was a volunteer firefighter. I know that, and a Marine. And so I know that the power of a team. You would have thought that I would have known that when I started entrepreneurship, but I didn't. I didn't even think about that. I thought, you know what? I need to go out and find customers. I need to make money. I need to replace my income. And then I quickly found, well, I wouldn't say quickly. It took me a little while to realize that it wasn't about going out and finding customers. First, it was going out and networking with like-minded people that really want to support you and lift you up, and you do the same for them. Because that's really what helped me elevate my business. It wasn't finding customers or clients or going out and doing organic marketing or any of that. It was associating myself with people that have that same success mindset. And that's really what made the difference for me. And a group like KBB, having all those people in there, there's people that are in different journeys within KBB, and you find yourself you find yourself starting at the very beginning, but then it doesn't take you very long before you're elevated, and now people are coming to you for questions or answers to questions. And so now you've got all this experience, you got all this love, you got all this, people are looking forward to you, and then you elevate them with you. You bring them up with you, and you all grow together. And that's what has really made just an incredible impact in my business, is being able to grow together with so many different people. I have people that had just gone through KBB a few months ago. I started back in 2019 when it first came out. And now they're part of my focus group for helping me build a course, because they have that go get 'em mentality. They have that community. They have that love to serve. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just kind of speaking in circles here, but
go ahead. The
bottom line is we've got to help elevate each other. And that's why I started a podcast called The Rising Tide, because rising tide raises all boats, right?
Oh, that's one of my very favorite quotes.
Yeah, and Trey's scheduled to be on it next week, which I'm really excited about. And I got to be on his, which was like incredible. So you build this community and you network with people, and it just becomes even better than making a sale.
Yeah. I mean, finding your community, your tribe that you can do life and business with is the ultimate game changer. And I'm going to bring it over here to Brooke for a second, because it's interesting. You brought up something in my mind, and it's a lot of entrepreneurs come from a performance background, whether it's an athlete or they were in service, which Todd, thank you for your service. I appreciate you, brother. Or whether it's being a firefighter or coming from any type of team concept. It seems like once we get older, we get into entrepreneurship, we lose forgetfulness. We become forgetful and we try to do it all on our own. I don't know if it's something that we're trying to say or something we're trying to prove, but Brooke, as somebody who specializes in sexual empowerment, I know that you deal with energy. Specifically, we talked about the sacral. And so I don't want to get too woo for everybody out there, but I know that everybody on here would agree that we've heard something called your gut, listen to your gut, your intuition. And I know that, Brooke, we could get deep into it, but you talk about that sacral energy. And so as we're talking about what these guys were just sharing with us, why do you think so many people are blocked in an area that doesn't allow them to be able to reach out and ask for help, even though they have experience with teams helping them in the past? Like, why are entrepreneurs seemingly so resistant to maybe investing in something or maybe trying to join a mastermind? And is that some sort of an energy block at a deeper level? I think you're on mute, my dear.
Okay, I was trying to unmute it, but I couldn't get there.
No worries.
So this is a really interesting question, and it goes into a lot of spaces. So I teach a personality model that's called the parent-child-adult model. And on either end, I've got a copy of it here. But I'm not going to go grab it. You've got parent on one end and you've got child on the other. And in the middle, you've got adult, right? And that is our most founded, most aligned, most intuitive and centered part, right? As entrepreneurs, we often tend to go towards parent, which is the self-sacrificing, the passive, the person who's trying to be the captain of the ship and steer everything for everyone. So they're making all these sacrifices to try to lift everyone else and move all these things forward, right? That's not the healthiest version of yourself. The healthiest version of yourself is the one in the center that believes I'm okay and you're okay. We all are important. We all are valid. Everyone is responsible to cover their own garbage, and I will help you and be here and centered. And that's how you can really move people forward. When you're in that centered position, your intuition is your most powerful tool. And not because of like all the woo-woo things, but because our mind picks up 7 pieces, our conscious mind, 7 pieces of information every second. Our unconscious mind picks up 3,300 pieces of information every second. So when you put the two of those into context with each other, if you are not living fully aligned, your intuition is not very trustworthy. If you are, then you can trust that intuition and you're going to be more likely to ask for help. You're going to be more likely to offer the right help. You're going to make sacrifices for your long-term goals, not for the immediate satisfaction of the people around you. And when you put all those things together, you clear out all the garbage that keeps you wanting to sacrifice or wanting to control, and you live in the center, then your intuition, your energy is free to flow the way that it's supposed to if you want to get into the woo-woo parts of it. But if you're saying just in the science part, then you can suddenly trust your mind. You can trust all the information that is around you, and you can put that in conjunction to God or universe or faith or energy, however it resonates for you. And all of a sudden you are powerful.
I tell you what, I mean, like, I know that that's a mic drop. And so I love the way that you put that. I love what you shared. Now I want to kind of bring it back because, you know, I totally agree. I mean, it's this, we got to clear that out. We've got to process, we got to purge the emotions and feelings. However, I don't know if anybody that's listening to this or watching this right now has ever heard, oh, you got to be still or you got to quiet your mind or you got to get centered, and then thought immediately like, how the heck am I supposed to do that, Brooke? Like, what are you supposed to do? Because I know forever it used to drive me nuts. And I want to ask Trey something here real quick, because I got to a space, you guys, where I finally was able to be able to come back to me, to understand that we are all one thing while still living here and be able to take action. However, I wasn't able to do that. And I'm not saying that everybody has to do that. This was my path. But I was only able to do that because I started to surround myself with people who are already living like that. I never had a blueprint to understand how to download that information. And so this is anything. I mean, any success you want to have in life, in business, in love, in health, it's all the same. How can we leverage people who are having success, doing the things that we want to do? And then how can we connect with them? And now, Trey, I want to ask you something specific because I don't know how many people are familiar with my brand. I started a brand called Marshall Live 4 years ago. I didn't know anything, and I couldn't afford a coach. So what I did is I started a daily live show. And I just would reach out and be like, hey, Todd, I'm Marshall Gillen. I have a live show. I'd love to have you come on and share about your mindset coaching, because I knew that I need mindset coaching. And if I could frame it in a way that was like, oh, yo, let me come on and give you value, I'm hacking coaching, right? Now, that's not what you were doing, Trey, but that power of association and interviewing people, interviewing experts literally transformed my life. And I want to ask you, I know we have other podcasters here. I know we have people in the audience that are thinking about a podcast, or maybe they started one and they're kind of teeter-tottering, they're not seeing existence. How much has podcasting changed your life as it applies to hacking into the system or hacking information or being able to get these ideas? I mean, how important has that been? And what would you say to somebody else who's thinking about taking action behind starting a podcast?
First and foremost, obviously, it's a great question, Marshall. And first and foremost is stop thinking and start doing. Because of the fact that you look at this room right now, the people that have shown up, and all of us have something in common. And it's the fact that we're showing up. And what you talked about in regards to interviewing people, having a great, genuine conversation is truly what it's about. It's about learning about what you have to offer and just offering it to the world. Because you look at masterminds and a lot of these networking groups, it's about understanding what somebody has and taking them and putting them up and saying, here's what he has. Because why? What happens when we do that, when we're helping somebody else? It's turning around and helping us, whether it's being fulfilled, whether it's in business, whether it's another person that I can network with and have on the podcast. It's something that, like, for a while I was like, I don't know who I'm going to interview, and then next thing I know, like, here I am doing 2 to 3 interviews every single day, and I'm like, I'm exhausted. But the thing is, it's a good exhausted, and being able to actually do that and support. I'm looking at the panels down here. Brian, I know your Project Die Hard. I haven't physically spoke to him on Zoom or anything else yet, but he's very passionate about giving back to veterans. David Payne, same thing. Diane, it's about taking those women and just being able to uplift them and get that block cleared. Then Amy with the volunteer holic, she's doing amazing things, and she didn't talk about it here, but in the podcast, which you guys will find out about, she literally made history. And I'm not going to go into it because that's going to be an upcoming conversation. So, Brooke, the things that you overcame, had I not had you on the show, it's something that your life and the events that are going on, or that you had go on, there's a lot of people out there like that. And somebody is not stepping forward to speak up. And you're doing it. You're making a difference by taking this podcast. And now I know there's all sorts of different topics out there, whether it's crime shows, and that's fine. I don't take up like all my time to deal with that, because right now I'm in growth and helping, because that's what fulfills somebody in their life. So what are we doing to fulfill ourselves? And that's what this podcast is all about. Now, hopefully, you know me, I always go on rants. So hopefully I already hit that point that you were speaking of. But it's about the thing of stop thinking. You're overthinking. You see me right now. It's not the perfect lighting. I don't have my camera because, there goes something else. My camera, it's hooked to my other computer. I don't have time to set it up, which has my backdrop and, my lighting's crap. But who cares?
Yeah.
It's about the message that we're giving. You've heard me in several rooms. It's about the messages that are coming across.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So that's hopefully how I can sum it up. And if I miss something, please let me know, Marshall.
No, brother. You always say that. You always say, sorry about going on a rant. I love your rant. It's always fire, man. Like, keep showing up. And I think it's like, that's the thing you talk about. It's one of the reasons I connect with you so much. It's about showing up. It's about taking action. It's just getting started. I mean, I used to host live events when they used to go on. If you guys could zoom into this thing behind me, you'd see it's pixelated so gnarly. And I put these banners up in front of like 100 people. But I didn't care. It's just taking action. And people come in and I go to the event. And I'm like, hey, did you see how pixelated these are? I don't care. Just get started today. So, Trey, I think that's great. I do want to come over here. And I have a very specific question for Amy. Before I do, I want to say what's up to Brian. What's up, David? You guys, I see you chilling over there. I'm going to come to you here in a second. I have some questions for you guys, just based on your background, your name alone over there. But I'll get to you guys in 1 second. What I want to ask Amy real quick is, Trey just talks about showing up. Trey talks about showing up with a server's heart, showing up to give. Now, I know we've all heard the quote, if you give enough people what they want, life, you can have anything that you want, right? You give what you are, you get what you give. And so I went around the horn and I was introducing people. And the first thing Amy introduced herself with was volunteer holic. And it's interesting because your whole premise, what you're leading with is literally giving first. And so Amy in particular, I'm curious, how has showing up with a server's heart and focusing on giving to others changed your life, and how much abundance has that brought back to you?
Oh, a ton. Almost everything that you guys shared about the entrepreneur life, it does for the volunteer life. So the job that I have now is definitely because of how I show up in the community. I have I'm not an awards person, but I am the youngest civilian Hall of Famer for Joint Base Lewis McChord. I've had all sorts of so I've gotten jobs, it's relationships, flown to speak at different conferences in different states, Washington, D.C., which is like a different country. No, I don't know where anybody is, but it has been amazing. And volunteering has helped me to be not just a better person, a better mother, a better wife, a better just civilian in general. And I think it brings me such joy, such joy. I mean, it has grown my family. I think, on so many different levels.
Yeah, I'm sure it's grown you as an individual, and just being able to show up like that. I think that sometimes when we're stuck in the grind of building a business or trying to become all we can, we sometimes lose fact that like just showing up is creating a space for others to have that permission to get started. And I think that's like one of the biggest things. It's not always about the biggest business or the most stuff. It's like, how are we just showing up to serve in life and being that example? Because a lot of people didn't grow up with a blueprint to be able to have success. And Diane, it's interesting the way that Trey introduced you. I mean, he had so many kind things to say about you, which is really like, I mean, that's amazing because I have so many amazing things to say about Trey. And so, Diane, how has that affected your life? I mean, it sounds like you're very talented. You're obviously multifaceted. If you were a superhero, your belt would be like, you would have all the tools on your belt. But, how that being said, being so skilled, how are you still able to show up, in such a giving way before, in a way that's going to get somebody like Trey to say such nice things about me? How have you adopted that and integrated your life? And how big a part has that played in being able to get the results that you have?
I don't know how to be anything else but a giver. I've always been that way my whole life. I lead with my heart, my compassion and empathy, because I know that people need to tell their story and they need that space. And allowing someone to be in a space where you hold for them and they feel non-judged and they feel safe. Sometimes that really helps a person just move from A to B. And I just guide them wherever they're going to go. I meet them at their pain point. And, I'm just blessed to have gifts that I can speak here in this world, and I can help speak in other worlds because I can speak both worlds. But
I love that.
It's not what defines me. What defines me, I think, is knowing that I'm living my purpose every single day. And one person that I can help, if I do a podcast and only one person shows, that's great because you know what? That person needed me in that moment. And that's just how I operate like that every day. And the more skill I get, the more people I can help.
I love that. I mean, I absolutely agree. And you can feel it. The energy like literally radiates from you as you say that. And I appreciate you sharing that with us. I want to go to two of our other panelists, but before we do, I just want to remind you guys of a couple things. One is remind you that every Friday, the first Friday of every month, Trey's going to be holding these roundtables just like this, bringing on experts, bringing on speakers, bringing on other entrepreneurs and veterans who are having success that you guys are looking to have. The other thing I want to remind you is that I have a surprise. I want to announce to the audience after this. I have some stuff that I want to share with you guys. Only though if you guys are listening to this and you like things that can help you reach the next level. If you do, then stick around to the end because I have something really, really important and something actually kind of cool that I want to announce to you guys. But before that we do, I want to bring it over a couple more of our panelists. David Payne, brother man, I want to thank you for waiting and being so patient, man. As you sit here on this panel and as you surround yourself with more entrepreneurs, what comes up for you when I ask you, how important is community or how important is having people that want you to win around you while you're trying to build these dreams? What does it mean to you to be able to leverage content and leverage community like this?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think a few people have already hit the nail on the head a little bit ago. Serving in the military. I talked with Trey last night on his podcast, and we talked a lot about this. Serving in the military, from basic and on, they break you down as an individual. They bring you up as a member of the team. And leaving the military, I tried to do everything on my own, and it never worked. So it always comes back to that community. You know, if we could all reach the top together, it's so much more rewarding than just doing it on our own. And we can't do it on our own. We need each other in order to succeed. You know, Trey, he's been shouting out GI Resupply. That's the company that I own, and he didn't have to do that. It's just kind acts like that. And if I can give back to him, and continue to give back to others, we'll all succeed as a group, and that's what matters in the end.
Man, brother, I mean, I can't agree more. And so let me ask you another question real quick: is how were you able to take that knowledge then to start your own company? Or would you say that you started your own company, maybe failed or sputtered a little bit, and it wasn't until you learned that lesson that it had success?
Absolutely. Yeah. I started the company in May. You know, COVID happened. What we do is we just provide an easy way to send care packages to people overseas. COVID happened. There were a lot of organizations and, you know, places on base that had to shut down due to their circumstances. So what we wanted to do is we just wanted to fill that gap and provide services for our deployed service members. And I was trying to do everything on my own. And I thought that I could just launch a website and it was going to blow up without any work. And I was humbled during that process. So it really took me to learn the hard way, which is sometimes the best way to learn. And learn that, you know, I can't do it by myself. It's a community, just like we're serving a community of service members and veterans. It's a community to continue that mission. So it was a humbling experience, but I'm glad that I learned it.
I love that, man. What a great concept for a business and a solution to be able to help our veterans active military overseas too. I mean, like that's absolutely incredible. I appreciate that. Brian, now, you know, as you hear David, you know, talk about that philosophy of how he's able to leverage other people, but how, you know, if we want to go far, we go together. You know, what does that bring up? Like, what's that bring up in your mind when you hear that talk? And what would you add on to that?
Well, the only way to accomplish anything is to work together. Okay, that's the only way to accomplish it. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not in business. I'm the nonprofit guy in the room. Okay. Okay, I'm the nonprofit guy in the room. But as I've been preaching for 3 years to other veteran nonprofits, if we work together, imagine what we could do. Right? It's just that. Imagine what we could do if we all work together. You do this, we do this. Nobody has to put the whole bill on them. We spread it out and we all work together.
Yeah, I love that. So, Brian, what is the name of the nonprofit?
Project Die Hard. That comes from my time in the 1st Infantry Division, the Die Hard Battalion.
Hey, I love it, brother. That's amazing. And so maybe, like, you know, first off, I have 2 questions. What is it that, you know, what made you want to start that nonprofit? Where did that idea come from in the first place?
Well, I was an Army medic. And when I buried more of my brothers and sisters that I've lost to suicide than I lost in multiple combat tours, something had to change.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, man, it's tough. I'm a attempted suicide survivor myself. You know, I obviously wasn't active. I wasn't military at all, but I just have I can understand, you know, that's one of the reasons that Trey and I connected. You know, he knows how much love I have for our veterans. And I think that what you're doing is absolutely amazing, brother. And that's one of the things that I find with a lot of my veteran friends too, is they have, you know, these duties, these leadership roles in the service, and then they become a civilian. A lot of them are telling themselves this story in their head, you know, that they don't have anything to do. There's no worth in a civilian life. And so I'm such a fan of veteran-owned businesses, because I'm like, you are a leader still, and being able to show up and take action, starting a nonprofit, like, who knows how to do that? But you're still taking action anyways. And so I want to start to switch this conversation a little bit, because I'm curious how much fear played into that, Brian. When you started something you'd never done before, were you fearful of it, and how were you able to work through that fear to still take action anyways?
Was I fearful? No, I wasn't. The Army taught me there's a problem. You don't complain about a problem unless you have a fix for the problem. So it was all planning. Now, I am mentoring a couple other veterans that want to start nonprofits right now because just like David, I got this. I can do this. No. I'm teaching them, look, I'm not going to tell you how to run your nonprofit, but I'm going to tell you what happened to me when I tried it that way. It's experience.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, did anybody else have a song run through their head when he said that? There's a song. when there's a problem, I'll solve it. Ice Ice Baby.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
That's why I started busting out laughing.
Trey, you are old. You are old, Trey. Because
no, does that make us old if we know that song, or if we jam to that? I think.
Dude, I jammed to it, so I know I'm old.
Let's go. Well, I'll tell you who's not old. We have a fresh entrepreneur in the room, somebody that's brand new to this whole thing, but somebody that's close to the action. So, Lex, I have a question for you, my dear. I'm wondering, as you sit in this room and as you hear all these entrepreneurs and budding business owners, talk about, struggling and then having teamwork and community, what are some of the lessons that you get being in a room like this or from hanging out around your dad and learning some lessons? How much has that been able to start shaping you as an entrepreneur, would you say?
I would definitely say it gave me more confidence and it really helped out because at first I was like not sure about it and I wasn't sure if I really wanted to stream. I was like, oh, I don't have the equipment. I don't have like the push to do this. And then like it gave me a little bit more confidence to actually push through and just go ahead and do it.
I think that's amazing. I mean, the simplicity of what you just shared, I don't know if you understand how powerful that really is, but it's like, it really is true that powerful. So I want to ask you real quick, Lexa, what is it that you're streaming? What is the brand that you're
creating? I stream video games. Right now I'm big into like Minecraft, but and then I did an art stream a couple of days ago. So that's kind of where I'm leaning to right now.
Let's go. Build that brand, girl. I love it. That's super impressive. I mean, just having the clarity, which will lead to confidence, which is what you're saying, and eventually certainty to create your dreams. I think that's such a valuable lesson. Lex, I don't know if you really understand how valuable the lesson that is. Thank you so much for sharing. And Trey, I want to bring it back to you real quick. We were talking in my group earlier about fear. And so as we look at this panel of experts, you talk to all of them. What are some of the things that you learned from, let's say, having Chris on your podcast or having Todd? I mean, as it comes to starting a podcast or starting a live stream, taking action on getting a brand out there, which is kind of what we're helping people do, is how do we take that action? How do we solve problems? How do we make money and have sustainability for our family so we can go out and solve more problems? And so, Trey, what is it that so maybe an action step or two for somebody that wants to take action, take that next step, in their life or their business? What are a few things? I know you say show up. I know you take action. Those ones you've been going hard on. But as it pertains to like really being able to find that confidence, like Lexa just shared, what is it that you would say?
I know first and foremost, Amy's had her hand raised for a while. So I would like to jump over to her real quick.
Yeah, throw it over. I didn't even see that. What's going on, Amy? Lay it on us, girl. What you feeling?
Well, I wanted to ask a question for Brian is why to create more nonprofits? There's a lot of really great nonprofits out there. Also, I would recommend is even creating a program that could be housed under a nonprofit. And because if you're wanting to build things together, it might be a wonderful way to mentor some of the people that you're working with. Because I do work with multiple nonprofits all the time, and I have great success here locally. But I just wanted to throw that out. It asks like,
okay.
Why? Yeah.
Let me answer. We have a little niche. If you look at our nonprofit, we're going to take care of the veteran and the families together, not just the veteran. Okay, because it's a team effort. So I don't know of any other veteran nonprofit out there that will house a veteran with their families for up to a year. Okay, there was a need. It's all to take that number down. It's all to take that number down.
Yeah, I love it, man. And I think that there's a space for everybody. I think that really when it comes to giving back and creating those charities, it's like you got to get in where you fit in. Amy, to what you're saying, I have I call it a for purpose business. It's called Good Job at Life Today, and it's a speaking brand. 100% of those profits that I make from that go to International Network of Hearts, which is a charity of my choice. And so, I think there's different ways, whether it's showing up and creating a nonprofit or showing up and creating a for purpose business where the proceeds go to whatever the cause is. I think you really just got to get in where you fit in. Diane, let's throw it over to you, girl. What do you have to add?
Well, first I wanted to direct this question at Lexa and her dad. I'm right now creating a mastermind for women on a certain thing, but my next mastermind is going to be about and with adolescents. And I wanted to know if she would love to come on my podcast. I would like to get her talk and her feelings around girls and boys her age. I would really like to get her feedback on that. So I would like to invite her onto my podcast and interview her.
Yeah,
yeah, sure.
That's awesome. That's magic that just happened tonight. So that's just amazing. So
I love that. Thank you, Diane.
Welcome. My pleasure. I seen her. I love the way she talks. She's very articulate and she knows her. She's very confident. And I think she would be really good representational for speaking for, young women.
I love it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
I love that. I mean, that's the power of community. It's something we preach all the time in the rooms that I host and things that I do like this too. It's like if you're a panelist and you guys don't know each other, we all should be reaching out and connecting because we're all on the same mission or we all have the same vision if we're here in this room together. And likewise, if you're a listener and you haven't followed these speakers, these podcasters, these nonprofits yet, you guys get out there, just give them a like, follow their mission. Maybe you can connect somebody, maybe you can tag somebody that can help further the mission, support them. We just spent the last hour literally talking about how the more we give, the more we get. And it's not about getting, but it's finding that fulfillment, that satisfaction. I grew up poor in the Midwest. And I was taught if I make a bunch of money and help a bunch of people and become well known that I would be happy. And then in 2009, all of that happened, and I'd never been more unhappy in my entire life. And it wasn't until I switched and really started to show up selflessly and start to give. And so I know that each and every one of you here tonight have something that you can give to the audience. And it's not something that you guys can necessarily charge it for it. I know I mentioned, hey, stick around, we have a surprise. The fact of the matter is that every single one of these people on this panel tonight have curated something that they want to give to you. They want to give away something to you, a resource that's going to literally help you take that next step. So here's what I want you to do if you're listening. I want you to grab a pen and I want you to grab some paper. And I did that backwards. Can you be dyslexic with objects? I don't know how that goes, but I want you to grab a pen. I want you to grab some paper because we're going to go through this and we're going to share some of these resources that these experts have to help you take the next step. And I want you guys to be able to remember which ones you want to actively reach out. But I'm telling you right now, you're going to want to get all. You're going to want to reach out and get all of them because you're going to love the transformation and creating your life and business. And I want to start here down at the bottom with Chris. I know that you have put something together to help people understand, take that next step with what you do. What is a resource or something that they can go to, maybe a website that can help them do that, Chris?
Right now, actually, ironically enough, our website is completely under redevelopment. So right now, to really connect the most with me and just to get your daily dose, except for on Sundays, because I Sabbath on Sundays, daily dose of just inspiration for your personal walk, for your spiritual walk. And as a leader, really just checking out my videos, whether it's on Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook, or connecting directly through me with a DM and just chatting. My servant's heart is if I see an area and someone reaches out to me that I know I can assist them with, I'll gladly reach out back through a DM. But yeah, right now the main focus would be on my social media and just the content I'm putting out there on that. So.
Chris,
I love that.
I got to applaud you really quick. Shortly after you were on my podcast about the floating head, I noticed that your stories is now correct. So congratulations on figuring that out. I'm dying to know what the heck was it that had you flipped upside down on all of those videos?
Okay, for those of you who don't know, for some reason on Facebook story, I was getting flipped upside down. So my beard was basically in my mouth. Okay. And Trey likes to expose me on that, which I'm perfectly fine with. It's something that randomly happened. It didn't happen on any other social media platform but Facebook. And what I think it was anytime I recorded, I have a DJI Osmo 4 with my gimbal. Anytime I recorded it with the app, for some reason, I think was flipping me upside down, because any other way that I've recorded, whether it was live or straight to the direct camera of the phone, not using another program, for some reason that seemed to work. So yeah, the floating head is hopefully gone. But thanks for calling me out on that, Trey. We're good
Hey,
friends.
I'll be
I
honest
appreciate
with
that.
you. If I ever came across it, like maybe, who knows, my stomach's in my throat or something, that hopefully I know how to fix it now. So that's why I was curious.
For the record, my wife Googled it and could not. Other people had the issue, but no solution. So as it stands, I think I need to, because we also thought I use Long Story Split. No advertising there or anything like that. It's just what I use. And we thought that was it. So I deleted it, re-downloaded it. That didn't do it. I really do think it was that other program I was using. So I'm pretty sure it was the program issue.
That's so interesting. I know on Facebook, Chris, I've posted before on my timeline, and they'll post the videos upside down, and I've had to put them into an editor, just re-download it. I Googled it too, so I can fully confirm. I was going to say, Trey, like, don't drop floating head and not tell the story. So I appreciate you guys getting into that. And Chris, I just want to say it's very interesting. I know that a lot of people want to be able to reach out and have access to experts, but when you only have a website, it feels like you got to fill out a form, or I'm getting on a contact list. And so I think there's real power. I mean, if you're like, oh, our website's under construction, I think what Chris meant to say is, yo, you guys, I'm into old school traditional contacts. Why don't you just reach out and talk to me like a real person? You guys reach out, talk to Chris. He's got a ton of value he can offer and a ton of leadership. I want to go over here now to Miss Brooke. I know Miss Brooke's been having a long night. She was at a clubhouse room before this, facilitating, putting that energy out. Brooke, as it pertains to what you're doing, what can you offer the audience? Or where can they get more access to you, more access to a resource, or something that can help them take that next step? Because we could go deep on human design and sexual empowerment. And so I know a lot of people, like you said, they may have shame about asking for help. And so how can they go about reaching out to you, or really getting a resource that to start to learn more about energy healing, sexual healing, and all those things?
The easiest way to reach out to me is on my website, and it's just brookeheim.com. It's my first and last name, so BROOKEHEYM. And I have several offers on there. I have a couple of calls that you can jump on for free with me. One's 30 minutes, one's an hour and a half. I have a 5-day challenge, which is called the Soul Empowerment Challenge. And it's called, excuse me on behalf of your daughter, but it's called the Success to Success program, where it is all about getting in alignment with understanding what real self-love actually is. And so it's using those 5 elements. I have a couple of online group programs that are going to be starting, and I also have a quick little Kajabi program that I'm building right now about self-compassion. So it's a 4-step process for how to be present even when our emotions come up, even when stress or trauma or triggers or PTSD it comes up, and you can take 90 seconds to breathe into your emotions, let them flow through your body, and have real compassion and understanding for what you're going through, and then have it not get stuck in your body and go on. So if anyone wants access to any of that information, I give all that out for free, and I'm always happy to get on a call and support people.
That's so awesome, bro. Thank you so much for sharing that. And again, I grew up very blue collar. I'm a hard-headed man. I'm a big dummy, but I eventually learned self-love not that long ago. And so I know a lot of people might hear what she just said and let it come in one ear and out the other, but I'm still an action-oriented, tactical guy. Like I have nothing has been more powerful than finding the acceptance, forgiveness, and love for myself. It's changed everything. So,
I think that's one of the things about me is that I'm actually like a highly functioning autistic adult. So I'm on the autism spectrum. And so like, I love woo-woo and feelings and emotions, but I need a friggin' action plan. I need the steps to go down and how to apply it. So when I talk about self-love, I talk about the sacral chakra and those things, yes, there's a lot of woo-woo to that, but I have to bring it back in to be able to do it. So if you struggle with this, oh, you need to love yourself, like, right, I do too. I get it. It's hard. So I have 5 very specific steps of self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, self-expression, and you go through all 5 of them, and it really, truly gives you that ability to be in alignment with what your true purpose is. And it's not, but the woo-woo part's good too.
Hey, I get it. Like I said, I mean, I'm the same way. You know, I had to dive into how thoughts become things. It led me to quantum physics and epigenetics and all that stuff. And then I was like, oh, okay, I believe in the woo stuff because there's
Yeah.
actually hard science behind it. So I really, really appreciate that. I want to go over here to Todd. Todd, I know that you've got a lot of resources. I was at your website already. I was looking at some of the free stuff that you have. What are some of the tools that people can find to get help from you on working on the mindset, which we know is incredibly valuable?
Yeah, absolutely. On my website, Todd V is in Vincent Ross, ROSS, .com, I've got an entrepreneur toolkit, and there's 20 pages of mindset, business, all kinds of tools in there that will help you. I've got schedules. I've got calendars in there for, I've got 5 different calendars, the links for them on go live topics and social media topics every day of the year. There's mindset coaching topics, business coaching topics, relationships, fitness, wellness. And I've also got a social media calendar in there. So there's a lot of tools inside of that Ultimate Entrepreneur's Toolkit. And it's just, you just give me your name and your email address, and you can download it right there. I've also got my inner circle. So if you connect with me on Facebook, send me a message and I'll add you to my inner circle. Everything is free. You know, I don't push any products or anything like that in any of these tools or even in my Facebook group, because I like giving out things for free. Every bit of my course, I've got a 12-week course. Every bit of it is scattered all throughout YouTube, Facebook. And then, you know, I go live every Monday. Every Monday I do a Mindset Monday, and I also do a training the first Monday of each month. And I have free calls. So none of my stuff is for sale except for my program. And that's a very specific, type of, very specific person that wants to move from the employee world into entrepreneurship. And that's I wouldn't say a long process of interviewing, but it can be somewhat of a lengthy process to interview the people to make sure I'm right for them and they're right for me.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent practice. I think you have to do that as a consultant, as a coach, really anything, whether you're dating, getting married, like whatever it is, there should be a process to make sure both people are a good fit. What I wanted to say to the audience right now is we're going to be covering a lot of things. So one thing I would do is, if whether you did this already or whether you're going to do this in the future, is if you don't have clarity on the areas, the arenas of your life that you're actually trying to change, you have all these things being thrown at you. Unless you have clarity on where you want to go, it's going to be hard to be able to take some of these things into account. So the other thing I want to say to everybody in the audience, whether you're listening or watching this, is I always say this to my audience, right? The content that we're sharing here is great. Like, this is all great content, but I also want you guys to take a step back and look at it as a bigger overview. And I want you to actually observe how these entrepreneurs are delivering their solutions. Like, how is Chris doing it? You know, how is he actually getting this information out? How is Todd doing this? And so, yes, Todd's got all these groups. He's got the entrepreneur toolbox. He's got for you to help you. It's all going to help you. But at the same time, if you guys are looking to start your own brand and business, take a big look overview and see, well, how are they actually doing this? You guys are going to start to see the power and how offering free stuff and transforming people is going to be able to get you guys more of the results that you want in your life. I want to bring it over to Brian real quick. If you guys want to be able to support Brian and the nonprofit, you guys can go to projectdiehard.org. But Brian, specifically what I wanted to ask you is how, for the veterans that are listening, the civilians that are listening, how can we support you from our seats right now tonight? What's one of the best ways to get involved behind your mission? And what can we do to support Project Die Hard?
Well, first and foremost is share the mission. Okay. I will never authorize a check for $10 million to pay for an ad campaign. That takes away from the mission. Won't do it. I will never pay a celebrity to endorse us, because if your heart's not behind the mission, what good are you, right? Share the mission. We kicked off a campaign January 1st for $122 a month patrons. We just had 20 acres and a 3,000 square foot building donated to us. I cannot get the volunteers there until we get the insurance and the utilities covered. And that's what that patron drive is for right there, is that. We started at January 1st. We need 70 more. That link I showed was for the radio thing I did earlier today. I'm thankful for you doing this. But dude, I've been on Zoom calls since noon talking about this AA thing. So I'll be glad to come on anybody's show and tell about the mission. But let us not do another day like today. Because I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how you keep that energy going in that level, because I'm not lying. This is the third pot of coffee. I just don't know how you guys do it. I don't.
I think that's one of the cool things about what you're doing, Brian, though, is, I mean, you're just showing up as a leader. You're doing what most people won't do, which is the hard shit. You're saying, yo, I have a mission. I'm not fucking good at this, but I'm still doing it anyway. So to all the brothers and sisters out there that are listening, look, we've got people that are serving at a high level, and they're showing up and doing things that aren't necessarily making them feel empowered, but they know they have to show up for the mission. What our brother Brian is saying right now is they're only this far away from being able to have the land and the time they need to help more people. So whether it's going and following them on Facebook and tagging 5 friends, even if 25 of you listen to this, go and tag 5 friends on their Facebook page, and one of those, it starts to gives money or is able to join the Patreon, you guys, we're going to be able to literally help move people's lives, change those lives. It's not just the veterans. It's like Brian said, it's the families too. It's a unit. It's nothing, no one left behind. And so, Brian, again, I know, man, I did it, brother, but I appreciate you being here. I know the audience appreciates you being here and being able to share the mission. There's a lot of people that have been lost, like you had said. It's such an important mission. So, bro, I really, really appreciate you showing up. I want to go over here now, and I want to talk to Amy. Amy's still hanging in there looking. I like it. Hey, what can people do to reach out to you, and how can they get help from you?
So for me, it's just on Facebook as well. It's Amy T. Meyer, and I'm a part of, the American Warrior Initiative, AUSA, USO, different things like that. Travis Manion Foundation. So for me, it's just mainly Facebook, because I do all sorts of different activities. And so I think it's learning. I would ask you what you want from me, or how I can help you to get involved in your area. And I'll research nonprofits for you that are really doing some really great things, or hand you off to people I know. When you're military, you know everybody everywhere. You always have friends across the nation, which is the cool part about being military. So I would say reach out on Facebook.
Amy, can you explain what your role is? So for those because obviously your episode has not come out yet. So can you explain really quick what your role is?
So right now, I'm the Director of Community Impacts for Fairway, which is a mortgage company that's employee owned and operated, and they have nonprofits. But I also am the chapter president for AUSA, and I volunteer on all the different levels, because I think you learn things from just being a worker bee, and from then being the person that helps to coordinate a program or an event, and then the person who's sponsoring a program or an event, or the person that's, running, trying to get volunteers. And so you learn when you're doing all these different things, kind of how to partner. And I partner even with businesses. So I can get a nonprofit to sponsor an event, but not have workers, and then have local business owners. They don't have money, but they have the ability to help themselves or allow their employees to help. And so I'm a very big creative. And so it's just reaching out to me and letting me know what your problem is and how I can help you. But I actually have to get going. I have another thing to get going to, but it was a real pleasure meeting each and every one of you.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I can't wait to hear your podcast episode.
Amy, email sent.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Amy.
That's awesome. I want to come up here to David real quick, and I want to ask him how we can best support the mission that he has going on. And David, first off, I got to say, maybe he fell off. Oh, there he is. Hey, David. Yeah, I'm going to ask you how we can support you in the mission that you're on. But before I do, to all the listeners, especially to all the panelists, I just want to say to all of you guys, thank you so much for taking your time and energy. As a professional speaker, the last 4 years, I've spent hours on panels where I literally talk for like 30 seconds or 90 seconds total. But I know that the culmination, the sum total of everything that we were able to provide for the audience is what really has made the difference. So to all of the panelists, I just want to say thank you so much. I wish we could get more time and more energy, which is why you, the listeners, are going to want to go out and follow them, learn more about them, go connect with them on social media, reach out and ask. So David, thanks for being so patient, man. I wish we could have heard way more from you tonight, but what is something we can do to support your mission with what you're creating, and how can we bring more awareness to that?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This has been a lot of fun. So hopefully we can all do this again in the future. It's real simple. If you go to giresupply.com, that is our website. It shares a little bit about us, what we're doing, who we are. There's a page on there for care packages. You could select a care package and send it to a service member, whether it's somebody that you know, or if you just want to send it as a gift to anybody, we'll find somebody to get that care package to. So you could find us giresupply.com or on Instagram or Facebook at GI Resupply, and reach out to us and let us know how we can get better. Share some any of your tips or feedback, because we're always striving to get better.
Bro, I don't know why, dude, that gave me chills. It's like, oh, you can give somebody you know or somebody that you don't know, just like show up and serve a random act of kindness. I don't know how any listeners feel about getting packages, but Dave, every time I get a package, I always feel like it's like a warm, fuzzy feeling, right? Because like we're adults, we got busy life. I can't imagine what it's like to be overseas, serving the country, and to be able to have that feeling enhanced to tenfold, to have one thing, a sense of normality that somebody cares. So, GI Resupply, you guys heard it. Dave, I'd love to reach out to you. I'm going to connect with you because I want to learn more about what you do. I'd love to support what you got going on.
Absolutely. I look forward.
For sure. Now, I want to bring it back here. We got Diane. Now, Diane, again, I know that you got all the things, girl. Like, you got all the things, like, to help all the people do stuff. So how can people reach out to you, and how can we support your mission?
Well, I'm actually here to support people. So on Facebook.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
Healing with Diane is my Facebook page. Healingwithdiane.net is my website. Every Thursday I have Transformational Thursday, and I find somebody of value that can help the community and help people. And they come on and they talk every Thursday. And I do podcasts with people, and whoever comes on the show, I the only thing I ask of them is that they serve the people and they bring value. And most of the time they're coaches, or I have doctors coming up that are going to be working with me. And I'm trying to think of what else I'm doing right now. Yeah. And on going on the masterminds, because on that platform, they don't have bilingual people. So I have a big following of Hispanic women. So I've invited a medical doctor, and I will do the mastermind for the woman in English and in Spanish. So I've done that with them, and she'll be coming up on one of my Thursday Facebook or podcast, and that's what we're going to. So we've partnered with that because there's a big following that there's in that area where a minority is left out, and I get a lot of messages for that, and also for adolescents like Lexa, it's huge because I have a lot of kids in my practice that are suffering. So I invite them on. They know I'm sorry. I've been up since 2:00 this morning. So if I'm babbling, I'm sorry.
You're doing excellent. No, I appreciate it. And I think that but it's an inside look to how you really are and how you operate. And I think that's excellent insight for the audience to be able to say, hey, I can reach out to Diane. She's like a real person. She can actually help me make a move. So I appreciate you being here tonight, dear. Thank you so much. I'm going to give it to Trey here to end it. But before I do, I'm going to put the spotlight on Lexa one more time. Girl, are you ready? Because I'm coming for you. I got to ask you a question. Now, I know that you're younger than some of the panels, some of the youngest of panels here, but regardless of age, if you could share just one message, any message based on your experience up to this point with the world right now, what one thing would you say? What one piece of information would you share, regardless of the age? What would you say to the world?
Well, if you want to do something, you should definitely go for it and don't let anything that's negative hold you back.
Yes.
I mean, how do you, Lexa stole the show tonight. And you guys are all awesome, but it's like, if we could all learn to talk with such precision and such efficiency, like we would get so much more done. Lexa, that's amazing. Trey, I want to bring it back to you, brother, man. I want you to close it down and share some closing thoughts and go around the horn and really love on this audience.
Thank you so much, Marshall. First and foremost, I got to give a shout out to my sister. She jumped in here as soon as she could. Carol, thanks for joining us tonight. I just want to go through some of these episodes really quick, just to recap for this whole episode that we're doing right now, this Zoom call. And this is to bring some type of value to everybody, just a small recap, as well as sit here and give feedback. And Marshall, you have been able to command this entire room and have every single one of us involved. So for that, I thank you so much. And this was something that was very spur of the moment that I was like, man, you know, it would be great to have you do this. And you like, hands down, okay, when are we doing this? I was like, well, 7:00 tonight. So, oh, okay. So thank you, Marshall, first and foremost. So for Todd's episode, we're on season 2, episode 9 for Todd. So if you're listening for the Forging Life podcast, is what this is for. So go check out his full episode if you have not done so yet. Amazing conversation. And my dad even gave feedback, was like, man, you guys probably could have gone another hour. It's a great conversation. So it was, we were just kicking back and just conversing back and forth. Then for Chris with the 3 I's in leadership, that is season 2, episode 7. Then getting down, I know Cory and JoJo couldn't be here tonight. That was one of the other ones. Brooke, season 2, episode number 4. Another amazing conversation, and the story that you had there was so impactful. So thank you for opening up your heart and your voice to bring that forward. I know we had Blake Brewer. This is season 2, episode 2. He was not able to be here tonight. Every Friday they do a family like movie. So he apologized for not being here, but another powerful episode. And he talks about a father's legacy letter. And what that was is he shares this story about when he lost his dad out in the middle of the ocean when they were on a vacation. And this legacy letter was one of the things that they had to fall back on. And it was his dad's closing messages. So if you're a dad out there, I definitely highly recommend checking that episode out as well. So that kind of wraps up this January's episodes for the guests. If you guys are listening to this right now, you know some individuals that maybe I need to be interviewing, please reach out to us. We have the Facebook page. It's the Forging Life podcast Facebook page. And I ask everybody to get out there and just invite 5 friends to that page, because this is building a bigger and bigger community. We opened this page up and it hasn't even been a month yet. And it's already, to me, it's very impressive. We're at like almost 100, like 120 people that have joined because of the mission that all of us are on. All of us are here to provide some type of value in life. And that's exactly what this podcast is about. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. I really, truly appreciate it. If you guys have certain things that you want me to sit here and speak about during our podcast episodes, whether it's the solo or guests, please bring that forward. So go check out the Facebook page. Make sure you follow Todd, Brooke, Diane. I know we'll have her on, Chris, David Payne. All this stuff will definitely be coming up. So thank you all for being here. Any other closing remarks for any of you? We would love to have them.
I love it. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Marshall.
Oh, by all means, please, you go.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for having us on here tonight, Trey. This was just an awesome opportunity. And you know what? Tonight was just another testament to me that you let life happen. I wasn't going to bring Lexa down and, listen in on this because I didn't think she would get much interest in, listening to a bunch of adults talk. But then I thought, you know what? Why not? and I just let it happen, and she learned something from it. She made a connection with Diane. She's going to be on a podcast. I mean, we got to let life happen and not be so afraid of what could happen and just enjoy it. So thank you again, Trey, for having me on here. This has been a huge, huge blessing. Marshall, you are a rock star. Just amazing. So thanks again.
Hey, you're more than welcome. Next month, same thing. We plan on doing this the very first Friday. If you can't make it, it's perfectly fine, but we would love to have you on the panel anytime.
I'd be honored. I'd be honored. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you. Same here. It's nice to I hear the voices, but I didn't see the faces. So it's nice to see them. And Lexa, reach out to me on Facebook. Go to my Healing with Diane page, and I will get with you and we'll talk about what we need to talk about. And thank you, Trey, as always. You're my brother. Where's my little rock man? His son. I love him.
They're all upstairs hanging out, watching movies. Randy and the smallest one are in the living room hanging out.
Yeah, but thank you for having me. As always, I'm here for you.
That was awesome. Would anybody else like to add anything before we do close this down tonight? Chris, yeah, by all means, brother, go ahead.
I just wanted to highlight saying thank you again to Trey, Marshall, fantastic job. Everybody, my prayers go out to you. Blessings to you all. I was blessed by tonight. Lexa, you're awesome. That answer earlier, kicking out all that negativity, yes. I lost my words on that. So I just want to close out with just saying thank you to everyone. My word last year was connect. This year it's growth. And I feel like the two of those absolutely came together tonight. And I can't even begin to tell you how grateful I am for this opportunity. So Trey, thank you for being a leader, for leading us and bringing us together and growing this connection.
My pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate some of that as well. Trey, thank you so much. I've loved all of the connection that we've had since meeting in some random clubhouse room, and to all of you that are watching now or may watch later. If you're not on Clubhouse, get on Clubhouse because the best connections are happening there. But thank you for a space to speak my story, to use my voice, and to have it be a safe space for all those who would hear and who may be able to ask questions later. So thank you for the amazing thing that you're doing and putting together.
All right. Trey, I got to say, and literally to everybody else, I mean, you guys have been so nice to me. Thank you so much. I grew up in the Midwest. I have a ton of friends and a lot of families who joined the service. I couldn't get a security clearance to get the rate that I wanted when I tried to join twice back in my 20s. But I have just, the veterans are so close to my heart. And every time I get asked to do something with veterans, I got to be honest with you guys, like I have a little bit of a little anxiety. I get a little scared because, who is this civilian guy showing up trying to talk with a bunch of veterans? So I just want to truly let you guys know, like, thank you for encouraging me, supporting me, and allowing me to come into part of the community. It truly means the world for a civilian to be able to give back and to be able to feel like I'm adding value to the veteran community. So to all of you guys, thank you. The last thing I do want to say is I want to remind you guys that we've had a panel of entrepreneurs up here all night. It's been amazing. We all are business owners. We're out there making money for ourselves. However, there's a couple people in here that are always in need of support because they're working so hard to support others. So I want to highlight for sure. I definitely want to highlight what Brian has going on with ProjectDieHard.org. You guys, they're giving back to veterans. I want to highlight TI Supply with David and what they're doing. You guys, if you're looking for something to support, I know oftentimes it can be difficult to understand where we should send our money or can we trust the nonprofits or the organizations that we're donating to. And to be able to have Trey have that basically that these abilities, these organizations for you guys to know, hey, if I do support them, I know my money's going to a good place. I know my energy, my time's going to a good place. So make sure you guys connect with everybody. Does anybody else want to say anything at all? Last closing mark, anything before we shut this off?
Marshall, before we jump off as well, I want to make sure that you talk about yourself, even though I haven't had you on the podcast. Yeah. If you can let us know once again what you do, why you do it, and if there's anything we should try to find or follow or website or anything like that.
Man, you know what? And I really appreciate that, Trey. You're always such a confident pro, and I really, really respect you for that. And you guys, I could go on and on about all the things that I do and all the things that I offer. the basic is I'm on a mission to save a billion lives, to save a billion lives with the power of vulnerability and storytelling. Obviously, it's a pretty audacious thing to say. It's a big goal. But as somebody who survived suicide, as somebody who didn't show up and was kind of embarrassed, and not kind of embarrassed and ashamed, and felt really guilty about the decision I tried to make. I felt guilty for a long time. I ended up losing one of my very best friends to suicide shortly after that. And to me, how you guys can support me, what I do, listen, you can follow me, Marshall Gill, on any and all social media channels. But I mean this from the bottom of my heart, though. What you guys can do to support me is if there's something that you've been wanting to take action on, just get started. Like, money comes and goes. It's fluid. I'm not going to be able to make money, but I want to help other people be that permission, create that space for whatever it is in the world that you want to do, whatever mission statement you have. The best way to support me is to support yourself, because this is like I said earlier, right? A rising tide raises all ships. Like, that's the best quote that there is, man. And I couldn't agree more. So Trey, I really appreciate. Hey, was this the first one? Is this the first roundtable? I think we did pretty good tonight, right? I think we
did
showed ourselves
outstanding, all of you guys. So
we did good.
definitely a round of applause for that. So as long as we have great feedback, man, I'd love to continue this on. As long as everybody would like to show up, then we'll continue this.
I'll do my best, but
I'll be there.
This was an off day for me. That I was supposed to be up in upstate Illinois, sleeping in a cardboard box tonight for another charity, right? Because together, that's how we do this. But then the Lord opened up doors, and literally, I've been in meetings all day, and now I just leave it in His hands to do what He's going to do with it, because He hasn't let us down yet.
Amen.
And Marshall, civilian or not, everybody has a piece that can benefit somebody else.
Thank you, brother.
Okay. If you can stand there in front of my brothers and sisters and say, look, got it. I ain't never put on a pair of boots, but I'll tell you what, this is what I know. You're going to teach them something that maybe they forgot being a civilian.
That's incredible. Thank you so much, Brian. Really, truly.
Yeah, that's it. There's no, yes, we specialize in veterans, but if somebody of your caliber will come and teach my brothers and sisters that, you know what, you can succeed, then why would I stop that?
Bro, Brian, thank you so much, man. Literally, that you have no idea how much that lights me up. I really appreciate you taking time to offer that, brother. Thank you so much, all of you guys.
All right, y'all, I gotta go. I gotta back brief my board. Have a good one.
Have a good night, guys.
As all, unless anybody else has anything else to say, we'll go ahead and end this here.